The VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 731, recorded on August 28th, 2024.
Welcome to the 731st edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 564th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Dunzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news and... wow. The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Okay, so, what have you been playing there, Scott?
I finished Daybreak, Trials through Daybreak. And I have just been playing some Minecraft right now. I'm trying to figure out what I want to play next.
Isn't there DLC?
I did play something. I played Questmaster. I think it's an early access game right now, but basically it's a Zelda maker, like a Zelda 2D maker, like from, it has SNES style, and you have the sword, and you have all the little techniques that Link has, and they put together dungeons, and you have some unique tools to use. It's a pretty interesting game. I think it's still early access though right now.
Did they release DLC for a game that you play a lot? I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Yeah, Sea of Stars DLC is...
No, that was announced on... okay. We'll talk about that later. No, there was something else that was DLC announced. Probably perked up about... Oh, well. And it's an older game.
Oh, older.
Doesn't matter. How about you, TJ?
I jumped into...
I know you've stopped playing fighting games because of Vivo, because it's enough for now.
Only. I said that, and then I fell right back down a hole of training on a character that I haven't been training on in a while. So I've been playing a lot of Guilty Gear. I'm taking one of my mains, Johnny, to as high as I can go with him. But I've been playing something else as well. I was playing Valve's the playtest of Valve's recently announced shooter Deadlock. So this game is has been it's been in prototyping for quite a while. It's a shooter MOBA. So it combines elements of hero shooters with I would say
you mean like Monday Night Combat?
Like Monday Night Combat or Paragon. I think it's actually a bit closer to Paragon in my opinion.
There are people still play. I think there are like a couple dozen people still playing Monday Night Combat on Steam.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. I like it's more MOBA than it is shooter. But it makes some very strange choices. It's 6v6 comp, and there are 4 lanes instead of 3. And you don't really call lanes. It's like the map is built in a city, and you take sky rails out to where the action is from your base. And it's a long game to play. I played a couple matches, and my first match ended up at 53 minutes long, and my second one was somewhere in the 40s. It's it's a long time to spend on a game that's going to punish you if you try to leave early. I don't know. I think the characters are cool. I was playing a gargoyle-esque character that could throw these bombs that would set up brambles that people would get hurt and slowed if they walked through. She could turn into a stone and stun enemies by landing on them. And then she could tether to other allies and boost their damage and speed. And there's a lot of interesting character archetypes in there. There's an electric archetype, an ice freezing archetype. There's a sniper. There's a fire archetype. And the characters themselves are kind of neat looking and cool. I think they got some work to do if they're going to polish that up, but it's an interesting foundation.
Really has a lot of work to do. Guys who made Concord.
Yeah,
here's the thing: the few people that have been playing really enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because there are some people out there with their tinfoil hats that believe that Valve might have timed its announcement of Deadlock with Concord's launch, which I don't know why they would do that, but I don't know. It's Concord is not visually interesting.
Here's the problem: is that it's a really crowded field of that kind of game. It's a really crowded field, and one of the things about these games is that, people only have a limited amount of time in the day. They don't have enough time to devote. And I think that's a lot of executives who just think you can just pump out these kind of games like there's nothing else. It's like if you're going to McDonald's and they expect you to eat 40 hamburgers. It's not going to happen. They'll have their one. Yeah. They're going to pick their one, and that's it. They're not going to play every single game that you shove in front of them.
I just think to myself, man, what could I do with 53 uninterrupted minutes of my life that I couldn't get away from? Like, I could do a lot of other things. I could play a ton of matches in Guilty Gear. I could play probably 2 matches of League of Legends, to be honest. I could do all sorts of stuff in that time. It just feels like I don't want to play a 53-minute match.
What people are playing right now? They're playing Age of Mythology, the remaster, because the special, if you got the special edition, you got early access, and they're playing it now.
I thought everyone was playing Wukong.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about new games.
Wukong is a new game.
Yeah, 10 million people for that. But the new games here's the thing, I've been playing the shit out of Against the Storm, and I can't stop playing it. I don't know what it is. It's just got its hooks in me. You know that? It's like I can't not stop play but that. But there are other games that came out recently which I have been trying. Oh yeah, I've also been playing a lot of XCOM on my Xbox because I'm basically achievement hunting. But there's a new game called News Tower, which is in early access. Have you heard of that one? It's basically News Tower. It's basically sim newspaper in which you start in the 1920s in 1929 and you're running a newspaper, and you have a printer, you have to send your reporters out, you have your guys on the teletype getting news from around the world, and you've got to decide which news items to place and which items to dump and that sort of stuff. And then you have mobsters who say, if don't run this kind of story, or do run this kind of story, and if you don't do what we want, we're just going to send our goons up to wreck your place. There are some stories in which you need multiple reporters on. It's really fascinating to play. It's very entertaining, especially since it takes place in the past. You have a lot of real world events that happen that you can report on if you want to. It takes place in New York. Actually, your place is in Brooklyn, and you have to expand, and you have to earn readers and that sort of stuff. It's really cool. It's in early access, so but what I've been playing in early access feels really good.
Nice. That seems. Yeah, I remember seeing this game now. I liked it a lot. I liked the look of it a lot, but it sounds like you're having fun with it, so that's cool.
Well, yeah, it's deep, but it's still in early access, which means it's probably going to get deeper. The other really new game that I've been playing, well, it's not new now, but I've been playing Dungeons of Hinterberg.
Oh. Yeah, I remember you talking about this.
So basically, for those of you who wonder what this is basically Zelda meets Persona. Because the thing about it is that for the past 3 years, there's been something magic happened to Hinterberg, which is in Germany. And Hinterberg's a real alpine ski resort. And they've basically turned themselves into a monster resort where people go and kill monsters for fun. And you learn new skills and spells as you go along. And it's very story-oriented. The combat is kind of simple. It's sort of like it's Zelda in that the combat is simplified, and also you have puzzles. And each area has different types of puzzles because they require different kinds of spells. And then after you do your dungeon delving, you get to walk around Hinterberg and find people to talk to. And you have a limited amount of time in the evening to talk to people. So you have to choose who you want to talk to and who you want to build a relationship with. So if you like Persona, you'll enjoy this.
Nice. That sounds cool.
But I've been playing all this Against the Storm. It's, for those who don't know, it's a roguelike city builder. I'd also say a puzzle game, too, because you get random stuff. And a lot of the time, it's not going to help you. And the game acknowledges this. If you go to your aunt, you say, well, I'm not really getting, it's not really helpful. I'm not getting the stuff I want. She's, yeah, well, that's the way it is. The first, few hours, and I played it in demo as well. I didn't get it, but when it clicks, and it really, and then you start saying, oh, okay, and then you can't stop playing. Here's the thing that really bothers me. How long to beat the game? It says 23 hours. I've been playing for 206.2 hours, and I haven't even come close to beating it. So I don't know what they're talking about.
At least you're getting your mileage.
I have no idea what they're talking about. Completionist is 357 hours, and it's like, oh, gee, I'm halfway there, I guess. So, yeah. If you try this game and it clicks with you, then it's going to put your hooks in you. And because I've been playing a lot of American Truck Simulator, too. I've stopped playing that for a bit. Actually, tonight on YouTube, which is August 29th at midnight, my How to Play Against the Storm launches. So if you want to go to my YouTube, my YouTube is exactly is my YouTube anyway. Oh, it's Jonah Falcon 1970. Go to that channel, you'll see it's ready to launch. Ready to launch it by the time you hear this podcast. It'll already launched. I have a bunch of stuff that's queued up though, because I have it queued up to my cable show. That if you can't see it on TV, you can see it on YouTube. But yeah, actually, the Nintendo revealed this. But also, I haven't had a chance to do it. But there's a free update on Balatro, which adds like Among Us cards, The Witcher 3 cards, the Dave Diver cards, and Vampire Survivor cards. I downloaded the update. I haven't checked it out yet though. Have you?
No, but I have been. I haven't played the update yet, but I had been playing Balatro I had some time between reviews, and I ended up slipping back into Balatro and trying to beat the first difficulty level with every single deck. I still have
some
a couple
decks don't unlock until one deck didn't unlock until I beat black. I don't know how you can do it for the first level.
Oh yeah, like with all the decks that I can unlock on the first level. There is one deck that you're right. You have to beat it on black blind or something like that.
That's the plasma. I think it's called the plasma one. It's a weirdo one.
Strangely enough, the one that I thought I was going to have the easiest time with was the one I ended up having the hardest time with, and that's the yellow money deck.
Oh,
I don't know why, but I couldn't get any kind of luck on that deck for quite some time. It was
we have thunder going on in the background.
We're
about to have a hard thunderstorm. It was really humid 90s, and it's just going to dump all that humidity, and it's going to be like in the high 70s the rest of the week.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know why, but that yellow deck, I just couldn't get the look of the draw when it came to the shop or the cards that I was drawing.
Yeah, I've actually found out how to get that loop, and there's that one card which says it'll repeat the power of the Joker to its right. For me, I think that's critical. You have to have that card in order to do anything, even to go deep. You have to have that repeat everything to the card to the right in order to zoom ahead. Because then you get a wicked combination. Because if you get that card, which will chain with that card, which will chain with another card, then, I almost got 100 million. I didn't get 100 million because you have to have 100 million to unlock. Is it a Joker or is it a deck? I'm not quite sure. I think it's
there's a Joker that you can unlock with if you get
100 million? Right, yeah. Okay. I haven't unlocked that Joker yet. The thing is that I really should try to be unlocking the Joker that, if you discard 5 jacks, it's easy to get duplicates of cards. I don't know why I haven't gone after that one.
You know what my breakthrough card set was, or Joker set was on the yellow deck? It was the one where you get an increasing multiplier every time you use a tarot. The one where it adds chips to it every time you play a scoring face card.
The one that I like is the one which you get an increasing multiplier every time you skip, right? Oh, by the way, the one that I told you about, the weirdo one, yeah. So when you beat black, you get the deck in which everything evens out. So if it's like 500 times 2 times 10, then it'll split it in half. It'll be 250 times 250. So with that deck, you're actually going after chips, not the multiplier.
Yeah. And I like a combination of the ones that build multiplier and ones that build chips, because then you get the boost of both sides. And then I had the one that adds a static multiplier onto your deck as long as you have no discards left.
Oh.
I got a foil version of that one, which adds a 1.5 times multiplier onto it. So between those three, I got to finally cooking, and I finally was able to win in the yellow deck.
The combination I want is the heart multiplier, the advanced one, which randomly 1 out of every 3 times it'll give you a huge multiplier boost. I want to combine that, and I almost got it with the one Joker that adds 1 to your multiplier chance. So instead of 1 in 3, it'll say 2 of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I actually got it once when I had the one that says 1 out of 2 times your face card will give you money, and I had that plus the multiplier adder, so it was 2 out of 2, means always. And then I had the card that said every card counts as a face card, so I was swimming in money.
I got that one about the face card thing, and I saw where it could be useful. I don't like that you still just get the same number of chips for the number cards. If there's
the only danger is if you get the modifier that says all face cards are don't count. Yeah. Well, that's why you get the that's why you have to get that pay $10 to change the thing. Or the advanced version is you can keep paying $10 to change it to whatever you want. I will get back into Balatro, but Against the Storm is the game I've been playing every time I have a free moment.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well. One of the Balatro's first announcements was they're going to have a big game update in 2025 for free. Yeah. Then this crossover cards update. And then they have a third update for this summer that they haven't announced yet. I'm still crossing my fingers that it's mobile. I don't know what it is, but we'll see.
We know it's Switch, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, again, I've been spending all my time. The other thing that's interesting, that thunder, it was right near me too. It's still going. I'll just let them. The other thing is that people have been getting their review copies of Star Wars Outlaws, and I'm hearing great things and not so great things. And the feedback I'm hearing from it, and PC Gamer had the funniest line. It said, Star Wars Outlaws is the most Star Warsiest Star Wars game to Star Wars. But I'm getting the kind of feedback I'm hearing reminds me of Watchdog Legions. I'm probably going to check it out. I will take that chance.
The two biggest criticisms I've heard so far is insta-fail stealth sections and not very good space combat and not a lot of great stuff between major things. Like, they don't fill the open world as well as they probably should.
I remember hearing people complain about the graphics not matching the trailer, but that's not really a surprise. Trailers usually look better than the game anyways. Yeah,
outside of the things that, like, those criticisms I mentioned, sounds like people have been enjoying it quite a bit. The characters seem fun. The shooty combat seems fun.
Yeah, I'm hearing the story is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just checking this. Oh, yeah. I also got the new version of Ticket to Ride, and it stinks.
Oh.
It's not nearly as good as the 2008 XBLA version.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, so instead of getting a refund, I just uninstalled it and just gonna wait for them to fix it. One game that I played a while ago, which I plan on picking up at some point, is House Flipper 2. You ever play House Flipper?
Yes.
Okay. House Flipper 2 is interesting. It's a marginal improvement, but it's enough that it says, I'll want to play it again at some point. They fixed the City Skylines visual bug, but the weird thing that came out of it for me is that now everything is slow. Graphics are just chugging now, and I have no idea why. It's just, I was playing City Skylines every day for a long time until that graphic bug, and now I'm just not getting back into it. It's a shame. I'll probably get back into it at some point, but they got to fix that thing.
Yeah. It's a shame, too, because that game has been through a hellish roller coaster.
Okay, so let's move on to the game news. The quick news. And former Marathon director Christopher Barrett was reportedly fired by Bungie for inappropriate behavior with female employees. Yeah, things at Bungie just keep on improving, don't they?
With so many movies and TV series only available on streaming these days, it can be frustrating when a film...
It seems like the rot in Bungie was there well before the Sony thing, the Sony acquisition. It seems like this is going back quite a ways at this point.
And it makes you wonder about why Microsoft let Bungie go.
A little bit, yeah.
Here's the thing. Now, from what I understand, and it's probably still true, is that Bungie wanted to do something other than Halo. Although in my head, well, go from Halo to Destiny, what's the difference? What's the real difference there? And you go from Halo to Destiny to Marathon, and that's really what's the difference, because Marathon and Halo are supposed to be in the same universe. I don't know. Microsoft has this way of just saying, you know what? I don't know. It was a good faith thing. Microsoft said, well, we'll let you go if you want to be your own company. And then they joined EA. That didn't work out. Trying to make it on their own. It worked out a little bit. And then Sony acquired them. Well, Sony didn't acquire them. It's a strange deal. It's like Sony purchased us, but we're only contracting for them. It's just weird. But I'm pretty sure Sony's going to own them 100%. If this keeps it up. I don't see any way that Bungie's going to maintain their individuality or their independence.
Yeah, and at this point, like with everything that's happened and people and key people pushed out, and now like Sony kind of holding the reins here as the studio has cut a lot of people. Like, is Bungie even Bungie anymore?
I don't know. He's funny because they let Marty McDonald go, and now we know why, because he was becoming a fruitcake. I don't think they could work with him anymore.
Yeah, I've seen a couple tweets that would tell me, yeah, no.
Yeah, we can't have you around anymore. Sorry. Oh God, what is going on? It's like, you remember the day when you found out that John Krifalewski was a big old pervert, slimy, weird pervert? That's what it feels like now.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bummer of a situation. Like, who could have expected the absolute spiral of Bungie in 2024 that has happened so far?
On a brighter news, my friend Dan Shu joined Riot Games. So he was a manager at Activision Blizzard for a long while, and now he's working at Riot Games. So we're hoping that that's an indicator that Riot Games has cleaned up its act.
Yep, and Riot Games has been on track with quite a few things themselves. Like 2XKO had their big old playtest this last couple of weeks, and I've heard some complaints, but it's super early alpha. Like, this is one of the first times the public got to play on this, and I also heard a lot of good things about it. Like, as far as just like how crisp it is, how much it lets you kind of have player expression in the characters. Seems very cool.
Also, their spin-offs haven't been too bad either. The League of Legends universe. Anyways.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the Nintendo Showcase. This might sound churlish of me. Might sound a little bit negative, but what the fuck were they doing?
All sorts of things, it seems.
Oh, no. Let's make a difference here, okay? There is the Nintendo Direct, and then there's the partner, right? The partner showcase. I'm going to deal with the Nintendo Direct. They have nothing coming out. And by nothing, I mean nothing that isn't going to be on every other platform.
It wasn't a first-party Direct. It was a partners and indies. They didn't.
No. We're talking about the showcase, not the partner Direct.
Yeah, that was the indie showcase?
They're two different things.
It was an indie showcase for indie games, and then a partner showcase for third-party games.
None of the other games also, by the way, were also all multi-platform. So Nintendo had nothing new to show us.
It wasn't. That's not what the show was for. This was not.
I wanted something new, not games from 2020.
Well, this is mostly about a bunch of indie games and partner games coming to Nintendo Switch that hadn't been there before.
Let's talk about this now. We're going to ignore the fact this is a Nintendo Showcase and just talk about the games without anything. Okay, so I know that Scott, I'm willing to bet you're the most interested in Throws at a Watchmaker DLC for Sea of Stars.
Yes, I am. That looked really great. We've been waiting to see what this one would be about, and it looks like it's about this, I guess, parallel dimension or pocket dimension or something, where what looks to be like Watchmaker's evil clone is in there with the circus, and she sends Zale and Valerie and Artificer into this dimension to go deal with the puppet master, or the puppeteer, sorry. And they even show a scene that looked really funny and reminiscent of Final Fantasy VI, where there's a train on the train tracks, and a character starts flexing his muscles, and it looks like he's about to suplex the train, which is just a legendary scene in Final Fantasy VI, and a great, nod to that moment. and it looks like the characters will have new abilities, and there'll be some other there'll be three-player couch co-op with this DLC. So this will be a very good DLC to look forward to play. And also Zale and Valley have to face their apparently evil clone twins as well in this dimension. So it looks like this is going to be a good DLC.
Of course, it's not coming out till 2025, so it's going to be a wait.
Yeah.
For me, the thing that was really interesting is Coffee Talk Tokyo, because I played the first 2 Coffee Talks. Now, for those who don't know, I can't say it's exactly a visual novel, because you do have gameplay in which you have to make drinks, and they do have an effect on the game. And I really got into the characters, but the thing that interests me is that Coffee Talk took place in Seattle. Oh, by the way, it also takes place in a fictional universe in which all the mythical beasts are real, vampires and werewolves and selkies and banshees and all that stuff, and orcs, but they're portrayed as typical Seattle people. Like, you have a lesbian orc programmer, and she's like, when you first meet her, she just sits down in the bar and doesn't say really much. She just wants her coffee and then she leaves. And it takes a while for her to actually open up about anything. And all these characters you get to know. And Coffee Talk Tokyo? Are we going to be playing the same barista, or is this going to be a completely new thing? I don't know, but I'm intrigued. Have either of you even played Coffee Talk or seen it?
No, I haven't.
I played the first one. I think it's great.
You should play the second one. A lot of the original characters come back, and then some new characters are involved. Also, the second game does have a slight branching storyline. So depending on what you do. Okay, I have to talk about this. So the Power Wash Simulator is getting a Shrek Special Pack DLC. And I can understand Duloc. I can understand Hansel's Honeymoon Hideaway. I can understand Fairy Godmother's Potion Factory. I can even understand Dragon's Lair. But doing Power Wash in Shrek's Swamp, isn't that going to piss him off? Doesn't he like it? Swampy and yucky, and why are you power washing his place?
Maybe Fiona took out the contract.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever, Shrek is going to be upset.
I mean, you got to maintain that thing in the swamp, especially in the swamp.
It turns out Fiona took out the contract just because she wanted to spruce the place up, but Shrek hates it, and it's going to be like the plot point of the next movie.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea about that for sure, but that would be hilarious if it was true.
That would be.
I haven't played Power Wash Simulator in a while. For those who haven't played it, it's basically you're cleaning stuff up with a water gun. It's nice and relaxing. It is.
Yeah, very comfortable, cozy.
The only problem is that when you have that last, and you have no idea where it is, you're trying to use the feature which it'll light up, where that last smudge is, and you can't find it anywhere. And you say, where the hell is it?
I think that you have to hit the shift or control button, and it'll light up. But that's what I mean.
You do that, and it doesn't, and you see where it lights up. You can't see where it lights up. It's like, where is it?
Yeah, it could be like the tiniest little speck of dirt underneath the inside lip of a fountain, and it's just like it's keeping you at 99%. It can be maddening sometimes.
So let's talk about Balatro on the Switch, and I think it's a very good match because that game is basically I can see people just tapping screens to do the cards. So is it on? It's not on mobile yet, is it?
No, it's not yet. Balatro has actually been on Switch for a while. It came to Switch, I think maybe a little
crossover with something else.
Yeah, that's the DLC. Yeah.
The news was that it's getting the DLC. They just announced it on the Nintendo showcase, but it's been on the Switch for a minute.
Okay.
They just chose to use the Nintendo showcase to announce the DLC.
They're going to make so much money if they ever release it on mobile. They're going to make so much money.
I have already made
I would pay the $9.99 for it on mobile.
I've already made peace with the idea that if that game ever comes to mobile, it's probably going to be the only thing I play on my phone ever again. It's certainly going to pass the time on airplanes. I can imagine flights feeling like they'd go right by in a jiffy if I was playing a game on Balatro.
So before we talk about the partners, is there anything else that interests you?
Yes. We got a release date for the Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster.
No. That's the partners thing.
Sorry. Peglin is fun. Have y'all played Peglin before?
I saw it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looked interesting. It reminds me of Peggle, but it's different.
Yes, yeah. It's It's a pachinko roguelike.
Yes. I like that. It's very cute.
I would have thought that Konami would have made it, since all they do is pachinko now.
Yeah, and it looks like there is some sort of. It looks like there are some things in your control. Is it like a roguelike thing?
Yeah, it's a roguelike.
Yeah. It looked very adorable, and I kind of want to play that. It seems like it would be fun on the Switch.
Eva is coming, multi-platform. It's a Devolver Digital game. You know what to expect. Well, actually, that's not true. Here's the thing. Neva is basically Ori. It's Ori. It has the same exact aesthetic as Ori. It's a platformer. It's a puzzle platformer. It has its own look, but it still is so much Ori.
It looks
It's by the guys who did Grease, by the way. Grease.
Yes.
G-R-I-S.
It looked very striking too. I liked the spirit animal, whatever that thing was. It was like a
creature from Ori. It looked exactly like the creature from Ori.
It's like a wolf, but it has branches sticking out of its head.
Oh yeah, you get a little companion. That is cool.
And there's like different times where you play as the gal, or that you play as the spirit animal.
This actually reminds me of Never Alone, where you're Inuit and you have a wolf companion and you're going through the Arctic, and that's like this, where you have a wolf companion.
Yes, and it's like I said, it seems like at certain points you're going to play as the gal, and certain points you're going to play as the critter. So that should make for fun gameplay.
Speaking of roguelikes, there's also Morsels, which is a game by Annapurna, so we know what to expect. Probably some major actors who are in it. I don't know who yet, but it's Annapurna. They love doing that shit. They're an indie film company too. It's like, who's on our thing that we can... It's a roguelike. It's like a next generation of Binding of Isaac, except a lot more colorful. Same kind of graphics, just higher res.
I didn't have too much opinions on any of the other stuff.
You know, maybe laugh. Pico Park 2 is on Switch today. And they brag
you hate your friends.
They brag it's a limited console exclusive. It's 14 days until it comes out on Xbox and PlayStation. 14 days. A 2-week console exclusivity isn't exactly a coup.
One of my colleagues told me that he played a 6-player game of Pico Park one time, and that just sounds miserable. 2 people in Pico Park is already hard enough. 6 people sounds almost impossible.
It does. Everybody would be all over the place. I remember playing World of Warcraft, and there was like a whole bunch of people, and all we had to do was hit a gong to open a door, and we couldn't even get that. Just to hit a stupid gong, all at the same time, just one button, and couldn't do that. It was chaos.
For those who don't know, one of the gimmicks of Pico Park is that the characters are tethered or have to work together simultaneously at certain points to overcome platforming puzzles. And if everybody's not on the same page, it becomes exponentially harder.
So, let's talk about the partner showcase. And first things first, I want to talk about this because I'm not the only person who's been grumpy about Civ 7. Thank goodness. I thought I was going mad, but there's a lot of people who are just saying, no. And by the way, these are people who've actually played it. And too bad we're not big enough, Scott, that we can't get preview versions ourselves, you know?
That would be sweet, yes.
But the thing is that, Ara History Untold may eat Civilization 7's lunch. Because there's going to be a lot of disaffected people. There's another game which came out this year. And I'm trying to remember. It's another 4X game that came out this year.
Was that...
Millennia? Millennia. Yeah, Millennia. So Millennia is really weird. When you first play it, it's out now. It's been out since March. When you first play it, it's like, oh, this is Civ clone. But there's a difference between Millennia and Civilization in that you get to go... Stuff in which the way you play it will influence the next age. There are 10 ages, right? And the way you play will influence what the next age will be. And like by the 10th age, it's like, oh, we're in a clockwork steampunk universe now. It's like...
Is it like... do you remember Humankind?
Yeah,
we're talking about Humankind before. No, this is nothing like Humankind. Civilization 7 is a lot like Humankind, which is why people are upset.
Oh.
But Millennia is different. It's more of a... It's also very fast, too. So it has more in common with Stellaris than it does Civilization, but it looks like Civilization and it plays like Civilization for the most part. But it has more of a story, and it's also a faster game.
So is it like, when you say Stellaris, are you talking about like it has stopping?
It has a story.
Like there's like it plays in real time, but you can also stop the action.
No. It has all the story beats and decisions like Stellaris, in which the game will stop and say, "Hey, how do you want to deal with this?"
But it's still turn-based?
Still turn-based.
Okay.
It's out. It's $20 right now because it's on sale. It's a more contained game from what I understand, but people say it's just addictive in that way because it allows you to experiment and see the different ways you can play the game. It's like I said, it goes through history, but where Civilization, you really can't change history. I mean, you can change it in that, you get, like Egypt gets the Statue of Liberty. No. This game is like, how you play is how the world evolves. So you may have a steampunk world, or you may have a futuristic sci-fi world, that sort of stuff.
Our history.
Check it out on Steam just to see what it looks like. It looks exactly like Civ, but it has all these different changes. It got mixed reviews when it first came out, but the more as the months have gone on, people have been getting more and more into it. So Millennia is an interesting game. Classical Civ 4X. And it tells a different story. Ara looks gorgeous, and I think the thing that's going to attract people is that, well, also Millennia, is that you keep your same civilization. Though that's the other thing that I found out that really irritates the hell out of me. You can have any leader with any civilization. If that's the case, then what's the point?
Well, I mean, didn't we have that in Civ 4? We could have, I remember customizing.
No, you could have a choice of two. No. Suppose you have, well, in this game, in Civ 7, it's going to be Augustus. You can have Augustus in any civilization you want. You want him to be the leader of Japan? Go right ahead. If you want him to be the leader of Britain? Go ahead. You want to be the leader of Mexico? Fine.
So does that mean that there are going to be a bonus attached to the nation and a bonus attached to the leader?
It's just,
I think so. And
the leader has
3 eras,
bonuses.
And when you go through the era, you change your civ. So you might start as the Mongols and then become the English and then become whoever,
Here's the point. The leader has their own sets of skills. The nation has its own sets of skills.
So you can mix and match them. That doesn't sound so bad.
But that's it. Then what's the point?
What do you mean, what's the point?
The closest thing you have to any sort of limit is that you can, when you go from one nation to another nation, there is some synergy for some certain nations, like Egypt will synergize well with, I don't know, with another Middle Eastern country that might pop up, right? So there's a little bit of synergy, but the thing is that what it does is it makes it less interesting, at least to me, because you want some restriction. But Millennia, I'm going to have to try, because basically what it does is it goes halfway there, in that you're just with that one country for the rest of the time through 10 ages, but the world changes as you play it, If you become really industrial, I guess, it's like you make this black cloudy thing, and you can either turn the world away from that or hit it hard. Screw it. The industrial age never ended. So I'll have to try it out at some point. I'm just talking about what other people say, right? Ara History Untold is Civ, except the combat will remind you of the not the Warhammer game. You know what I'm talking about? Rome Total War games.
Yeah.
The combat looks like the Total War games, which you have 2 armies and you have to decide how to attack and that sort of thing. A lot of games are coming out. These are, and by the way, we're talking about classical warriors. We're not talking about the games like Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings and stuff like that. These are the strategy, classic strategy games. So it's going to be interesting. People are going to have a lot of choices by the end of this year.
Yeah.
One thing is that what's funny is that Millennia, I read one Steam review said this guy had played like 900 hours on Civ 6, and after playing Millennia, he never touched any of the other 4X games, which is why it intrigues me. Because, like I said, it's like with Against the Storm got its hooks in me. I'm the sort of person who loves a story, right? And Millennia sounds like it might have a good story for me to follow. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't played it yet. But Millennia is a good game to check out, at least to check out its Steam page. Yeah. So, after talking about Civilization, who cares about Goat Simulator? So let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about Capcom Fighting Collection 2. which is coming out for everybody, which is going to have 8 classic fighting games: Capcom vs. SNK 2, Mark of the Millennium, Power Stone, Power Stone 2, Plasma Sword, and more. So I know that you were impressed there, TJ.
Yes, and most of the FGC was buzzing about this one. It is absolutely wild that Capcom is sticking so many good ones in one package, and also Capcom Fighting Evolution, which is trash.
Yeah, also they have another one, the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection.
Yes.
Which will include X-Men, Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, etc., 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 etc.
Yep, and that one's coming. That one's coming this year. This Capcom Arcade Collection 2. I think they said this one is also. I can't remember if they said it was going to be coming this year or if it's going to be coming early
2025.
Are you talking about?
Yeah, there it is.
Wasn't there a Tetris thing, like a whole Tetris collection?
Yeah, we're going down the line here though. Okay. So we're talking about the Capcom stuff that's coming out.
But yeah, so like if you just put Capcom versus SNK 2 in this package, people would be happy. You put Power Stone games in that package, people were ecstatic. You put Rival Schools in that package, people were over the moon. Like, these are awesome games. They could have broken this collection up into probably a couple sets and still gotten away with it. But, like, putting it all in one, this is the best they've done so far as I'm concerned. And I'm a little biased because Capcom vs. SNK 2 is maybe one of my favorite fighting games of all time. I think it's better than just about everything else that has ever come out.
By the way, it's interesting. They don't make a point of saying that the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 will have a physical release, but Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection will have a physical.
Mm-hmm. And this was exciting. Everybody who's been pining for Capcom vs. SNK 3 with all the business they've been doing with each other, this makes it feel even more possible. Like it all of the stars are lining up. If this all leads up to Capcom vs. SNK 3, I'm gonna be over the moon. I love it, and I'm gonna play the shit out of this and support it because I want it. I want that to happen.
Okay, we're gonna skip over Dragon Quest III HD 2D because we already know all about it. Coming out, we know. So let's talk about Castlevania Dominus Collection, which is gonna be the DS games, which includes Order of Ecclesia, which was actually, I don't know if people remember this about Order of Ecclesia, but before Order of Ecclesia, the Castlevanias had been awful. People have been complaining about them, how bad they are, and it was like, Order of Ecclesia was like, hey, look, a breath of fresh air. It's a Castlevania game. And then Portrait of Ruin, then Dawn of Sorrow.
Backwards. It was Dawn of Sorrow first, then Portrait of Ruin, then Order of Ecclesia.
Order of Ecclesia was the one in which people got back into Castlevania.
People liked Dawn of Sorrow. It was very, very much like Symphony of the Night. And Portrait of Ruin is one of my favorites. They did a 2-character system where one character plays like the typical whip wielder and the second character casts spells that she can collect through the game.
Yeah, but there were people didn't like. I mean, for the most part, and I remember this because I was there. I was in my 20s. People didn't like Dawn of Sorrow and Portrait of Ruin all that much. It was Order of Ecclesia, which had some new gameplay introductions that people said, oh, okay, it's back.
Order of Ecclesia, as far as I'm concerned, is very good. It just did a different version of the spell casting thing where you could suck the abilities out of enemies with her with her power. And that was cool. Like, I think all 3 of these games are great. I think a lot of people that did play through Dawn of Sorrow and Portrait of Ruin. Portrait of Ruin is probably my favorite of the 3. I think it has the best music, and I think it also has the best stages.
Guess what about that music? So not only do they have a revamped main theme, but you can also now find every single track that you want and play it whenever. In case you say you're playing Order of Ecclesia, but I want the Portrait of Ruin track, go ahead. You know?
That's great. All 3 of these games have awesome music, and being able to swap them back and forth would be awesome.
And plus Haunted Castle, 2 versions of it, one the original, the other one reimagined. It's basically Castlevania's predecessor, right?
I heard people describe this as Castlevania The New Adventure 2, which Castlevania The New Adventure was the Game Boy game.
And no, Haunted Castle was the arcade game that Castlevania came from.
Right, but I'm saying that as far as gameplay-wise goes, this is a lot of people were describing this as what would have been Castlevania The New Adventure 2.
So the other thing is, since it's on a DS, you have a second screen. You can rearrange the screen any way you like. You can have it, any way you like, and you use your second thumbstick to move. It seems awkward. We'll see. You're using a controller to do a touch screen.
It'll probably be nice on the computer if you can use the mouse for.
Oh, definitely. But we're thinking about the console version.
Right.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because it's one of the first times that we've seen just a straight up DS port come over to the Switch. There aren't too many games that we've had where it's
on Xbox and PlayStation too.
Yeah, and so if Konami does this right, they might establish an idea of how you go about porting DS games onto new systems.
Well, it's not as hard with the Switch because the Switch does have a touch screen.
Yeah, but you're still losing one screen that had information on it before.
So you want to talk about Tetris Forever? We'll talk about Tetris Forever, which is a 40th anniversary game of Tetris. It also has the 1988 Famicom version, Tetris 2, Tetris Battle Garden, and other ones. And you have Tetris Time Warp, which is going to just, you go through the different ages of Tetris.
Yes, this is very cool. And I think one of the most important parts of it is that apparently Digital Eclipse did some new interviews and commentary and behind the scenes stuff for this that is going to be included as like part of the history of Tetris. I think that's rad. I've had the pleasure of meeting Tetris's creator one time, and he is a very, very, very old school vodka-loving Russian, but he is also a genius programmer.
Are you into the Tales games? Because they have a remastered version of Tales of Graces.
This would be Scott. Don't you love these games?
Yeah, Trails. I thought you said Tales.
Tales, yes, Tales of Graces.
Oh,
the Tales game.
Yes, I remember hearing about this. I didn't get to see the trailer, but it sounds like it's a port of an older one.
Yeah, like it's a port of Tales of Graces.
Which would have been what, like PS2 era?
It's PlayStation 3, PlayStation 3 and Wii.
Okay.
It came out in 2010. Actually, 2009 on the Wii.
I don't remember there was like a stretch of Tales games where people were saying they were either perfection or mid, and I kind of missed out on that. Like there was like 3 of them or 4 of them throughout like PS2.
No, this one came out. The one that came out after this one was Zillia, which people did not like.
Yeah, they had kind of like a roller coaster of quality there for a second.
Yeah, I mean this was 2 games before Vesperia, and then Hearts, then Graces, and then the Zillia and Zillia 2, which people didn't.
Yeah.
I know Scott is just getting ready to talk about this, but yeah, the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster.
Yes, that was very exciting to see that because we were kind of hoping to have something show up, and they showed it, and they've actually changed, did some updating since the previous time they showed the trailer. They have new UI showing, and they have now a release date for March 6th of 2025. You can now pre-order it. There's pre-order bonuses on Steam, on Switch, and all the platforms. And they even have additional merchandise on their website. But we're very excited for this game to finally come out.
This was delightful to see just show up out of the blue, because the last time we heard about Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster was when they announced it at Tokyo Game Show in 2022. So it's been years at this point. And just to see it come out of the blue and be like, hey, we're coming out next year in March. That's great. I'm happy for all the fans.
Okay.
And I'm really interested in trying them myself, because I've always heard that Suikoden 2 is like top tier RPG.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. I'm pretty sure you're all for it, but are you ready to play Trails in the Sky 1 again?
It's a remake, though. This was like...
It was a remake.
Yeah.
Are you going to play it again?
Yes.
Okay.
I will totally.
You've been knowing the entire story? How do the graphics look compared to the original game?
Now, but maybe I'll wait for this. Yeah, the graphics are cel shaded. They're 3D. It looks like it's using some of the combat of Daybreak, where you have some action and then it will go to turn based. And they're kind of I think they're using the Xseed script. So we're waiting to see how they're going to handle the porting to the West. Still talking about that. But it was a real surprise to see this. Just like they didn't even give it a moment. They just were like shoveling it with the other little when they do like a whole bunch of little trailers all at once, and this kind of almost gets lost in there. But you're like, wait a second, is that Trails? That's Trails, and you see Joshua and Estelle, and Joshua's playing his harmonica, and they're going to one of those towers, and you're just like, oh my God, it's there. and we were all so happy to see it. And so, yeah, this looks like a good version of what they're going to do, and hope it comes west and we all get it, and I definitely replay it.
It's coming west. It's coming in 2025.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, it hasn't been official. The Falcon made a statement that hasn't been officially stated.
Yeah. It's coming to the west.
Yeah.
They like money.
Yeah.
And there are more.
Exactly.
There's twice as many gamers in the U.S. than there are in Japan. By the way, that reminds me. Everywhere I look, I keep on getting spammed from Square Enix saying, "Hey, Final Fantasy 16 coming to the PC! Yay! And Epic! Yay!" It's like, yeah, I know you need the money. You desperately need new players for that thing, because that surprisingly did not sell as well as they wanted it to. And Sony, we talked about this last episode, Sony has been losing money. And I think they've realized it was a big mistake just wrapping it up with just PlayStation. They needed more consoles. They needed the Switch. They needed the Xbox.
Yeah, that was definitely not a good idea to keep it off of PC, Xbox. I'm not sure how.
At least they're going to have it on PC. At least we'll see how it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about? Oh, you know what? They showed off also Tales of the Shire, Lord of the Rings game, which I'm looking forward to. It is basically Stardew Valley except with the hobbits.
That sounds lovely.
The way they did it actually looked really good. The other thing is Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition. I mean, I used to play that every so often. It was sort of like a kill some time game.
Wait, which one?
Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition.
Yeah. Yes, I was excited to see that game. I'm sorry. I was actually staring at a tweet of it just now. Actually, it's really cool what they're doing with the maps. I love Worms. It's such a good guilty pleasure game, especially if you have some buddies to sit down with.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like playing a same console game, couch co-op, and just giving a look to your friend when you blow his worm off the screen with his bazooka.
Or would you just get close enough to punch him off the stage and just outright kill them by making him drown? There was so much assholery you could do in that game.
Also, Disney Epic Mickey rebrushed. It was an okay game, but it's finally going to be on different platforms other than Nintendo. The sequel is on multi-platform. The first one was only on Wii, and finally it's going to be on other consoles. And I think, actually, you know what? I think Warren Spector did talk about it recently, about the rebrushed. By the way, remember those evocative scenes that people said that people didn't want this from Mickey? Yeah, that was never going to be a part of the game. That was a lie. Remember the gruesome Epic Mickey pictures? Those are never going to happen. That was just to raise interest in the game. But the real goal of Epic Mickey was just to reincorporate Oswald into Disney again. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Have you played Epic Mickey?
Not really, no.
It's not a difficult game, but the story is very interesting. It's very meta, and you get to, like, the 2D screens have you playing Steamboat Willie and other cartoons, and basically it's about how it's a riff on Fantasia's Sorcerer's Apprentice, in which Mickey fools around with Yen Sid's brush, creates a blot which destroys Disneyland, and you either have to destroy Disneyland or rebuild it. Huh. And Oswald the Lucky Rabbit just lays into you for fucking his life up. He does. He rips you a new one because, for those who don't know, Disney used to have Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, except someone else owned the rights to him. So when Disney struck out on his own, he had to create a variation, and he made Mortimer Mouse. And his wife said, no, that's a bad name. Call him Mickey. I'll make him Mickey. The rest is history. So, yeah, but basically the game has Oswald being very salty towards Mickey for ruining his life, because he never became as big and famous as Mickey did.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the Animaniacs are based on Oswald, so at least they have that. You didn't know that? The Animaniacs are based on Oswald.
Cool.
Yeah, they're all designed like Oswald. And I believe there was Bongo. He was similar to Oswald, except he was cartoon, very early cartoon, and then he was usurped by another character who started appearing in his trailers and his cartoons, Betty Boop. And pretty soon Betty Boop was dating Bongo, and then Bongo was all but forgotten. Anyways, the one game that really no one gives a two shits about is Funko Fusion. Why? It's not going to work. It's going to fail.
I actually forgot about it existing until I saw it again, and then I forgot it existed again. So, yep.
Every time I see that thing in action, it just evokes.
We did this already.
Evokes cringes.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have the at least with the forgot their name, something Landers. You remember the Toys to Life games?
Yeah, the Skylanders.
Yeah, Spyro's something.
Skylanders.
Yeah, at least those Skylanders.
About, yeah.
Yeah, at least that had little things you could put on a thing and have them come to the thing. No one's going to care about Funko Fusion because who cares? Here's the thing about Funko Fusion: who are they gonna do? They don't own any properties.
Yeah,
they have to rent them out. At least when Warner Brothers was doing it with their Lego game, they could get the Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo and other interesting characters and Back to the Future. Obviously, Disney had its thing and Spyro had its thing, but Funko has nothing. I'd laugh if they have Funko Kim Kardashian as first. That would be hilarious.
It is like, and also even if they did have something, Funko is so tied into licenses that like seems like a game that's just waiting to die when everything is licensed out like that.
Like Concord.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm shocked. Lego Horizon is back as Lego Horizon Adventures. Because that was the name. What was the name of the Lego thing? Lego Horizons, wasn't it? I forgot the name of the Lego Toys to Life.
Yeah, you're right there. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember right now. Lego. God.
I'm gonna do it before you do. Lego Dimensions.
There it is.
And like I said, Lego Dimensions was the one who had Scooby-Doo and Back to the Future and the Ghostbusters and all those characters.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, here's the thing: the Nintendo showcase wasn't really a Nintendo showcase. It was more like here's video games coming up that are actually going to be on the Nintendo too. Like I said, I'm most looking forward to Coffee Talk. So I want to see where that story is going. The first two games are in Seattle, and now it's transported to Tokyo. And I'm wondering if you're going to play the same barista you played in the first two games. It's really I don't play many visual novel games. The only other visual novel games was the Vampire the Masquerade, like the Coteries in New York. Coffee Talk was really, really smart. The guy who invented Coffee Talk, the lead developer, died several years ago before Coffee Talk 2 came out. So this is going to be the first game that's without his direct influence. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Anyways, we only have one other news item because basically, it's summer. Not much is out there. But The Witcher 4 is nearing a major milestone. This comes to us from PC Gamer. CD Projekt's 2024 half-year financial report is out. There's not a whole lot to see for anyone who isn't a major shareholder in the company, but there is one thing that's of interest to non-investing gamer types. The Witcher 4 is ready to move into full production. Work on Polaris is progressing. CD Projekt Joint CEO Michael Nowatzki said in a press release. His development team is nearing a major milestone, which will mark the end of the pre-production phase. First half of the year was also a busy period for our Boston studio, which is laying groundwork for Project Orion, the new game set in the cyberpunk universe. Polaris is the codename for a new saga in the Witcher franchise, which CD Projekt insisted for an entire year was not called Witcher 4 until then CEO Adam Kaczynski blabbed in March 2023 said, yes, Polaris is in fact The Witcher 4, which is probably why he's no longer the CEO. They kind of buried the lead here. There's a new cyberpunk game coming, and for God's sake, I hope they ditch the mechanics they had in Cyberpunk 2077 and go with something more streamlined and less, because it felt to me that's all those perks felt like they were there to be there, to make you feel like you were creating a character, but it all felt like to me was like a lot of micromanagement.
Yeah, we're still looking at the Witcher 1 remake coming first before this ever comes out, right? Like, I think I'm more interested in that because I kind of want to see where it all started, but I also want it to. Cause I've seen Witcher 1 played
a lot of
before.
Cards with naked women on them. That's what Witcher 1 was. It was naked women Pokemon.
I have seen how it plays, and it looks like not fun.
It was as Yahtzee Krosha said, it was a single player Momopager.
I want to play the start of Geralt's adventures, but I just want to do it with Witcher 3 quality.
I have a feeling they're going to clean things up for that. Here's the thing: I couldn't get into Witcher 3 at all. I don't know why. It just didn't resonate with me. I could get into Mass Effect Andromeda a lot easier than I could with Witcher 3. So I'm not particularly looking for Witcher 4, but I know it's going to hit like a nuclear blast. It's going to have the same impact that Elden Ring had.
Seems that way. But like I said, we're going to be probably getting the Witcher 1 remake first.
Well, yeah,
this feels like it's probably going to be. This feels like it's probably going to be, if it's going into production now, I would imagine this is like a late 2026, early 2027
probably a 2027 game, yeah. But actually, remember, Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to be 4-year production, and it ended up being 8 years. So
that's true. But like, yeah, I don't even know where I've gotten to the end of Witcher 3, so like I'm curious where they go with that.
Like I said, the gameplay of The Witcher really never sang to me. Oh.
It's very mashy. I will say that as far as the sword combat goes. It's very mashy with one sword, unless it's a monster, then mashy with the other sword.
I guess I just prefer guns. Mass Effect for me.
Sometimes you got to go and get yourself a potion of poison to make it work better, or sometimes you got to use a fire, or sometimes you got to use a push spell. But regardless, mash your sword.
Like I said, I know a lot of people are probably going to be waiting for this with bated breath. I'm not. But I also am not waiting for the next Grand Theft Auto with bated breath. But I know that a lot of people are. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. It's funny. I'd rather see Red Dead Redemption 3 than Grand Theft Auto.
That's probably not happening anytime soon.
Not going to happen anytime soon, no. It's going to come out. It's going to come out the same year as Fallout 5.
They also kind of, I don't know. It feels like they moved on from Red Dead Redemption 2 very quickly.
I don't know. They put a lot of work into it, and it's the one game in which the epilogue is a whole other game. It's like, oh, I finished Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay, I have to pay another 20 hours. Play another 20 hours as John Marston. I already know this character. Why am I doing his entire backstory now? I will say this. What's his face? The blonde-haired guy. I wish I could kill him over and over and over again. I just despise him. If they wanted me to hate that character, they succeeded.
Yeah.
Although I will say I hated Dutch even more than him, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah was supposed to be an asshole, but I don't understand. In Red Dead Redemption 1, they talked about how charismatic Dutch was and how he got people, and what a great guy he was. And then you see him in Red Dead Redemption 2, and he's like a piece of shit. Who normal people would have said, yeah, bye, Micah, I'll shoot, but I just want to walk away from.
Yeah, they did take a little bit of the mystique out of Dutch, which is what I was worried about happening with Red Dead Redemption 2, because most of his plans in Red Dead Redemption 2 end up being, I got a stupid idea, and then somebody says, that's stupid, and then he says, shut up, let's go do it.
I wish he could shoot Micah in the back of the head, because from the very start, he's an asshole. He sets fire to Sadie's house while he's trying to terrorize her for fun. It's like, yeah, just Sadie, take your gun, put it in the back of his head, and just shoot him. Then you can have the and nothing of value was lost. I like Sadie. She's a great character.
Yeah, Sadie is. If they were gonna do a Red Dead Redemption 3, I would hope they would return to Sadie, because that would be a great way to go with it.
So here's the thing: if you're gonna do Sadie, though, either you have to do a spinoff, or can you imagine? You remember how Red Dead Redemption ends, right? I mean, not with the shooting of Jack goes off, and I always wondered, well, now we're in the 1920s, and you're not going to have the old West anymore. You're going to have a West that. But here's the thing, there was still a lot of. Just watch Lone Star, the movie Lone Star. Watch that, and you'll find out, yeah, it was still kind of a Wild West anyway. You just had the government, but you could get around that. So I think you could have that and have part again. Well, part of Red Dead Redemption, the first game, took place in Mexico. You can still do that. Be interesting to see how encroaching modernity affects everything. What game is out there which is backwards compatible? Red Dead Revolver. I keep on thinking maybe I should play that at some point.
Yeah, it's just an altogether different style of game.
Yeah, but it still has the story, and there still is some backstory there that does connect with the first.
Yes.
Look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy feedback. Leave us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, this is up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to it on iTunes and Podbean, and leave some iTunes or Podbean comments. I don't know what happened, but it's fixed. We're back on iTunes again. Our episodes are finally uploading back on iTunes. So, we were always on Podbean, but we were also on iTunes, and iTunes, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was their fault. So, anyways, we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.